Hey, what's up, y'all? How are we doing? It's the playoffs, man. The NBA postseason is finally on its way. We are going to have our first set of playing games this upcoming Tuesday night. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have a 7-8 game on Tuesday between the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers. And I think on that same day, it will be a 9v10 matchup between the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets have home court advantage. So it's going to be an exciting time, y'all. And obviously, series recap is coming up. So that means we are going to do something that I've never done on this channel before. Y'all ready?
And this is what y'all are going to see from me for the playoffs from this day forward, man. So all I'm saying is that I hope y'all are ready for me to do like these Zoom podcast episodes of me covering the NBA, covering what's going on in the playoffs, and I'm going to be doing this for like any emergency episodes, or I may go back to like using like NBA 2K footage to whenever I need to do like an emergency episode, or I can just do it like this as well. But man, I can't wait for a series recap. Season 4 is going to be very exciting, and then I'm going to try to see if I can, what I'm saying, do screen share on these things, bro. Like, I'm trying to work that out so I can just show y'all the things that I'm like looking at. You know what I'm saying? When I'm showing y'all like things from like StatMuse and all that. But yeah, man, I'm very excited to do series recap in this type of format because throughout the years I've done series recap when I like covered the playoffs and all that. I just like use like a what you call it, like a picture of like, let's say a player from OKC, like Shea, or I use like Nikola Jokic. Like when I did season 1 of series recap, I also did like gameplay footage of like the two teams that went at in the playoffs, or like those two teams, or like two specific teams I'm talking about in one video. And then last year when I did or the last 2 seasons I did this thing called series recap. Why did I say this thing? The last 2 seasons of series recap, I just use like standstill photos and I can just, talk over them. But yeah, man, I'm very excited to do this with y'all. And I might as well get this out of the way. So we have the play-in game set. The 7-8 game in the West will be between the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers, and then the 7-8 game in the East will be the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic. Now, it's going to be very interesting because the Blazers they've been kicking ass a lot recently, man. But at the same time, so have the Suns. Now, I don't know if Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green are still on the IL. I think they might be cleared to play. I'm not 100% sure. So somebody run that by me, especially if you're a Suns fan. I know Portland's been playing a lot better as of late. They got a big time win against the LA Clippers on last Friday night, and they've officially secured the 8th seed. And then on the other side, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic, to quote my man DJ Eastwood, aka Running Back Philly, it's like two teams whose fan bases are just tired of seeing their guys play. I mean, last night against the Boston Celtics, a game that apparently they should have won, it was really close throughout. But the Boston Celtics, they weren't playing any of their guys, bro. They were really playing Ron Harper Jr., Baylor Shireman, who's going to get a lot of minutes in the playoffs, even though he's a second-year player. Let me tell y'all something about Baylor Shireman. I have not seen a player in a second year. Maybe I have, but the type of player Baylor Shireman is in his second year, bro, and like Boston makes him look elite. And this is where I can credit, guys, coaching staffs like OKC and Boston. They have great development systems and great coaches, which is why you see things like this from Baylor Shireman. You put him on, let's say, a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, Baylor Shireman is a scrub. If you put him on my Lakers, I think we do a decent job. But with Boston and OKC, they just have elite development systems and elite coaches, bro. And he straight up torched the Orlando Magic. And let me tell y'all something about Paolo Banchero real quick. Paolo, I love the guy, and I'm still having some high hopes for him. But right now, he's looking no better than Andrew Wiggins. And that's sacrilegious for me to say this because he was the reason why Orlando was in the playoffs those last 2 seasons, especially when they went to a Game 7 against the Cavaliers in 2024. Paolo Banchero was a big part of that. but it feels like he never really took that jump in his game. I just feel like he takes too many fallaway jumpers. He takes too many contested mid ranges when he's trying to get into the lane because partially he doesn't have that explosive bounce that, like, let's say Giannis or LeBron have. Even though he should, because he's 6'10 and he's like 250 and he's athletically gifted. But it also doesn't help that the Magic have been injured all year. Right? As soon as, Franz Wagner comes back, Jalen Suggs goes down. And it's just an abusive cycle with Orlando this season. And they also gave up 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. And Desmond Bane has been doing more than his job, bro. He's been doing more than his job. And arguably, you can even say that he's been Orlando's most consistent player outside of someone like Franz Wagner. But it's just like, man, the Magic, they're supposed to be a top 4 team in the East going into the season, right? Especially with Desmond Bane, who's an upgrade from KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which he is. But it's just like, bruh, I don't know what the hell is going on with Orlando, bruh. It's just like they quit on their coach. It's clear as day they quit on Jamal Mosley. Jamal Mosley is not going to be the head coach for the Orlando Magic, no matter what happens for the rest of the season, right? Because they're gonna get they're gonna get mollywopped in the first round by either the Detroit Pistons or the Boston Celtics, right? Same with Philadelphia. Look, Philadelphia, man, they've been just such a freaking mess, bro. Philadelphia has just been, oh my goodness. This season, they were like sort of fun to watch from like October, November, December. But after that, it's just like, bro, they're back to being the same dumb Sixers, man. They're back to being the same dummy Sixers. You feel me? And it's just like, they traded their best bench, or the guy that could have been their best bench player, because they wanted to get under the luxury tax, or they wanted to sell high. But keep in mind, the Philadelphia 76ers gave Paul George $52 million, and he's basically what Aaron Nesmith is for the Pacers, or what he's going to be for the Pacers next year when Tyrese Halliburton comes back and when they draft AJ Dybonsa from BYU. So, if the Philadelphia 76ers somehow get into the playoffs, they're not going to survive against Boston. That's not going to go 7 like it did 2023. I'm sorry. They faced Boston in the first round with Paul George turning into Podcast P, Pandemic P, Polyester P, Poltergeist P, whatever the hell you want to call him. Magic 8 Ball Paul's what running back Philly calls him. But no, seriously. There's no Embiid. Even though he always folds against the Celtics. See Game 7 in 2023. Even though, yes, you could also say James Harden melted down in that playoff game as well, or in that Game 7 as well, I should say. But with or without Embiid, this team is absolutely going to get crushed by freaking Boston. Especially now that Jason Tatum is back. He's looking more and more healthy ever since coming back from that Achilles tear. Jaylen Brown has been playing like an MVP all year, even though he's probably not going to win it. Derek White's a dog. Peyton Pritchard is a shot creator. Sorry, y'all. I had to stop midway because my mom wanted to give me something because it's my pop's birthday. That's a birthday card from my dad. But no, seriously. Going back to the Philadelphia 76ers and Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, he's a superstar. I do believe that Tyrese Maxey is a superstar. But you put him up against a physical Boston defense, and then I don't know what the hell I'm going to get from Paul George, because the last time I saw PG in the playoffs, that dude disappeared. The last time I saw good Paul George in the playoffs was 2021. And even though, yes, he had a great stretch when the Clippers went 500 in the last 8 games of their playoff run when Kawhi Leonard went down, PG was the beneficiary of Kawhi Leonard just being dominant when the games mattered most. In, I think it was like Game 6 against Dallas 2021, Kawhi had 45. Game 7 he had 28, which felt like 48. And then games 3 and 4, when they were down 0-2, Kawhi played like a monster. Kawhi tears his ACL in Game 4. Paul George had a monster 8-game stretch, or actually, I want to say 7-game stretch, because he wasn't really that great in the Sun series outside of like games 1 and 5, I should say. And then Game 6, it was just a complete meltdown. And that was partially not their fault. It's just like the injuries piled up, and it was just like there was only so much they could do. But regardless, you have that. And then 2024, Paul George, after Game 4, when he had a monster like 30-plus point game, he just absolutely just quit on the Clippers. But my point is, I don't know what I'm going to get Why am I getting so tongue twisted? I don't know what I'm going to get from Paul George. VJ Edgecombe is a rookie, and this is just a learning curve for him. I don't expect much from him, as crazy as it sounds. Yes, he is a top lottery pick from Philadelphia, but it is a good learning experience for him, and I don't doubt that he'll definitely do his thing. But the thing is, because of the fact he's a rookie and he hasn't been there, I think that's what the Celtics and Detroit are going to live with. They're going to live with VJ Edgecombe potentially being the leading scorer, because I know both those teams are going to put Tyrese Maxey in a box. Like, he'll average 30, but it's probably going to be an inefficient 30. And then again, I said it in one of my other videos regarding the Philadelphia 76ers in the East, or I think I made my Eastern Conference playoff outlook video thing, that if I ever see, we're probably gonna see rotational minutes for guys like Andre Drummond and freaking Adem Bona, and obviously Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre, who are pretty good. Well, actually, Quentin Grimes is not that good. He's like a one-year wonder, and he was the beneficiary of Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid not playing. That's why Quentin Grimes freaking popped off. Kelly Oubre he's a good player, but it's just like the Celtics and the Pistons are going to live with him being the top scorer as well. Because, I don't know. But point being is that if Philadelphia somehow makes it to the playoffs, they're going to get their asses kicked. And then that 9-10 matchup between the Hornets and the Heat in the East. Oh, actually, no. Let me backtrack. The Magic, I think they're going to get swamped. I'm just going off because this is like my first time actually doing this on camera, on my Zoom camera. But my point being is, the 7-8 matchup is probably going to see who gets slaughtered by what. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably going to get slaughtered by both. They're going to get slaughtered by Detroit and Boston. That's literally what I'm trying to say. And even if the Hornets somehow come out of that play-in tourney and beat one of those teams to get the 8th spot, they're going to get their butts kicked by Detroit anyway. So it's just like, who's going to get slaughtered by what? As far as the 7-8 matchup between Portland and Phoenix goes, I did predict that I have the LA Clippers beating the Portland Trailblazers. Actually, no, let me backtrack. I have the Suns winning their 7-8 game. They secure the 7th seed, and they'll play Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. And then in that 8-9 game, I have LA winning against Portland. But I feel like that's... I already explained my thoughts on that in one of my other videos when I talked about the Western Conference playoff outlook. But I do genuinely feel like the Suns and Spurs series is going to be one of those series where, yeah, it's going to look lopsided. It's going to be like a 5-6 game series at least. But a good amount of that series is going to be close because the Suns have played the Spurs tough this season. I elaborated that in my video talking about the Western Conference playoff outlook. I'll link it somewhere in the description below, or like at the end of the video where I'll just like put where, at the end of the video where you just like put 2 videos, like, recommended videos, all that other stuff. But when it comes to OKC and the Clippers, again, I don't think that's going to matter too much because I think Portland's going to get mauled by OKC. I believe that. No matter how experienced Drew Holiday is, no matter how much, they have Denny Avdia, Scoot Henderson, Donovan Clingan, they ain't got nothing on what they got going on at OKC. And then whether it's the Clippers or the Warriors, if the Warriors somehow make it to the 8th seed, they're going to get slaughtered too. And maybe the one that has the best chance to take OKC to 7 would be the Clippers because of Kawhi Leonard and Darius Garland. But even with that, bro, it's just like the OKC is too tough for them. They're just such a buzzsaw. And I do think that whoever gets the 8th seed, it's just going to be, all right, OKC takes care of them in like 4 or 5 games. Maybe the Clippers, maybe 5, 6, 7 games, but it's not going to matter because OKC wins anyway. So yeah, that is my take on the play-in games. As far as playoff previews go, I don't know why my Zoom camera is moving like that. So that's just my camera. I'm not moving it at all. I guess it's just like, they do that head tracking thing. But I'll find my way around it. Anyways, yeah, that's my take on the play-in games. Now, as far as playoff matchups go, I may make a separate video about that. But yeah, man, this is what we're gonna do for a series recap. And if you guys like this type of format better than me just doing voiceovers over like NBA 2K footage, you guys let me know in the comments below. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces. Get ready for series recap.